does it say upcoming? What? All right. Okay, I think we're back now. Yeah, I don't know why, like, it just crashed. Like, I don't know what was going on there, but let me just notify everyone that we're back. I don't know why, like, it just, like, crashed. But, yeah, this is like the first time I've streamed in a while, so. Again, maybe some technical difficulties. Let me just make sure everything is set appropriately. All right. All right. I don't need to like redo it. Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. But anyway, what happens if Kyle takes Joe to the end? Well, I literally talked about it in my jury scenarios video. I think Kyle loses. Um, Discord's refreshing. Which player do you think wins no matter what scenario? So again, I think if we're ranking the people based on jury threats, I think Joe wins at the end against pretty much anyone this Final Five. And then if Joe's not there, I think Kyle's probably the next biggest threat. And then Camilla is like the third threat if she's there with like Eva and Mitch. I think Eva and Mitch lose pretty much no matter what. So that's probably where we're at. Crash like my expectations for 48. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Getting a 0 vote finalist. Well, I'd say if Mitch is there, he gets 0 votes. If Eva's there without Mitch, she probably gets. Yeah, everything seems to be fine. Like literally, like when I reset it, stream can't hear audio. Can you hear it now? All right. If this crashes again, if it crashes again, I'm probably gonna switch to something else. Yeah, I don't know why I'm having issues with OBS all of a sudden. Like, I mean, I literally just like reinstalled it, or because I had to. I hadn't used it in a while, like, and it told me like, oh, like new updates available. So, okay, you can hear now. Worst price. I thought Evo was well respected with the jury. Not really. I mean, because the thing with Eva is like people like Chrissy was like not happy with her, like, and obviously people aren't happy with Joe either. But I think compared to like Eva, like I talked about in the jury scenarios video, but basically it's like I think the issue with Eva is like she's kind of seen as like a beta to Joe. Um, so I do think I'm not getting the sense that like people are happy with Eva. Like, I mean, you have like people like Mary, for instance, who don't really respect who like was working with Eva until Eva like voted out David, and then she basically like, turned her off from that point. And then you have people like David who, again, may be feeling a similar way. You have like Star who I didn't get. I think I was definitely higher on the Star Eva relationship in the jury scenarios video than what probably actually would be. But I think it's something else to consider. Yeah, let me so basically what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to prepare like an alternative in case like stream crashes again. Because it already crashed once. And yeah, like I'm just having issues with like OBS like disconnecting and like reconnecting. And it's like really annoying. Streams. So what I'm doing right now is what? Let me see what else is there. Hey Gavin, glad you're doing all right. Give me your most realistic scenario where Mitch wins. That is a question. I think probably like against Eva and Joe and the jury's bitter. That's probably like his best case scenario for winning, but like I still don't think that's particularly likely. Let's see. Can't believe they didn't realize. It was, yeah. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Star sucks at the game. That's one way of putting it. I don't think she's a great player by any means. What the heck? Oh, I'm not gonna do that. How do I shut this down? I'll do it later. Sorry, I've just been kind of all over the place. Just trying to make sure that like everything's like running smoothly here. Is there any like settings? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. It's always best chance of winning. Good chance of winning. Go with the go being match. I think Charity may be the worst player. Yeah. This season is a worst 44. Probably. Yeah. Probably not as interesting from a character perspective. Honestly, it doesn't matter at this point. Besides some crazy flip on Joe, that would never happen. Nothing even to do with the barrier position. Uh, I mean, Eva's in a good position to get to the end, but the problem is like she winning at the end. I just don't think she can win at this point. I want Heidi apologies on my desk if Mitch gets to FTC, and also Mitch better or worse than Jake. Um, I lean better than Jake in the sense that I do think Mitch is probably safer in the game for more compared to Jake because the thing about Jake is that like Jake was always at the bottom for the entire time, but he was also like kind of a target for a lot of the game. Like there are many points in that early merge where he was a secondary target and like he still didn't really know what was going on for a lot of it. Then also like Jake is someone who actively fails more at what he tries to do. Like Mitch is someone who's like his biggest issue is that he just doesn't do anything. And you can debate whether or not that's worse, but like I would probably say Jake's probably worse because again, bomb at the more for more and bottom for more at the bottom for more. And then also like fails more when he does attempt to do stuff. So I do think those are pretty big knocks to his game there. Why is it using so much of the CPU? But yeah, I'm just trying to do anything here. Yeah, there was a promo. There was a promo by CBS themselves that if you pay attention to it, it spoils who wins Final Five immunity and also spoils the Final Five boot. So and there are people who we're talking about online. So you definitely want to be careful if you're like on the lookout for that stuff. Let's see what else is there. He tried to make moves, but he also failed at the moves. Like you have like the Final Five round where like he tries to get Katora to like blinds ID, and The main reason why Katora backs out of the plan is because she was sus of Jake. Like, to me, that's like a really bad look. Um, Jake better than Mitch. Jake was swinging and missing. Mitch hasn't stepped at the bat. Again, like I don't expect like everyone to like agree with me, but I don't know. Like I feel like if you're actively trying and failing more, then that may be more of an indication of like people like not really trusting you that much. Where it's like at least if you're Mitch, like you can at least make the argument that okay, if you're Mitch, you may think that you're in the four. You may think that by sticking by even Joe, that they're gonna take you to the end. At that point, you're banking on like a bitter jury. I feel like I can make more of a case for Mitch being above Jake, where it's like, yeah, like he'll probably lose to Joe if he gets to the end, but like at the very least, like you can at least make the case that it's like, okay, like he didn't make the move, but like he was like trying to like pull like a Natalie White or something like that. Whereas I feel like with Jake, it's like Jake had like a bigger plan, like and pretty clearly like set in motion and put in like the work to ensure that like the flip on D would go through, but it would just like was just unsuccessful with it. So like there's that. So I feel like that's the way I think about it. Um, what's your honest option on? I'm guessing opinion on Survivor 50 with the cast coming out next week. Do you think anyone 40 gets on? I think we know that there's a 48 person on. I think it's Redmond. Like he said there was a 48 person on the cast. I don't think we're getting a 49 person on the cast because like the fact that CBS themselves is just coming out and announcing it makes me think that okay, like we just finished filming 49 and we don't really have anyone. So I think that's my take there. I'm still a Kyle Truther. Nothing against Joe, but I feel like if Joe won, it was way too telegraphed in the beginning. Um, uh, yeah, like I can definitely see that argument. But at the same time, like if you look at Kyle's edit, like Kyle's edit has been like pretty lacking. If you ask me, it's lacking in the sense that it's like his premiere is pretty bad. Like his premiere is bad. A lot of his pre-merge was pretty mediocre. And while I could say it's like, yeah, like we just had Rachel who also had like a mediocre pre-merge, but at least Rachel, like she had like a story that like started at the merge. Like you can at least point out it's like okay, the Annika blindside is like when her story like truly begins, and that's when we really start to see her more of her on the show. But I think with Kyle, it's like if we look at Kyle, it's like you have like okay, like we established the Camilla relationship early on, but it's like early on, like he's like propping Camilla more, and then yeah, well it does flip later on, and like we do get more of that storyline there. It's like I don't know, like I can see the arguments for a Kyle win, but like I personally still lean towards a Joe win. What is this here? Right? Can you even get a vote? I think she could get votes. Like I think David and Mary are probably her best bets in terms of getting a vote. But obviously, it would depend on who she's up against and how bitter those two in particular feel about Joe at the end, or maybe even Kyle. Joe's heavy favorite in my eyes. I give him 7% chance. Rooting for Camilla or Kyle though. I mean, yeah, like I do. I think I personally would be more satisfied in a Kyle Camilla win, but I obviously I don't like lean towards it happening. What is this amazing race? 13 top tier, 13 mid tier, 11 bottom tier. Lucky. Okay. Yeah. I'm guessing you have. I'm guessing you have Carson and Jack in like the top tier. I'm guessing, or like maybe like top of the middle tier. Kyle versus Joe would still be a more interesting final tribal than last season, where it's pretty clear Rachel was winning. Oh yeah, it would be an interesting battle. Like I would be fascinated to see like how many votes Kyle gets. And I think like if we're looking at it from the perspective of, like people like who are not believing in a Joe win, I think they would definitely like love that. Like I think it would be somewhat fascinating in that regard. Who would Cedric vote for? He's sure I have absolutely no idea what to think of. I think I had Joe Cedric pegged as a Joe vote. Mainly dude, I think he would like lean a lot into like the fact that Joe's like a family man. Like Joe talks a lot about his kids, how he's doing it for his kids. I think Cedric will resonate a lot with that aspect, like this whole fatherly approach. So I think Cedric will probably be a Joe vote. I mean, maybe he could be a Kyle vote, but like I feel like in most scenarios he probably lean Joe. Yep. All right. How's stream doing? Stream's still holding up all right, which is pretty good. Anyway, we're now about 10 minutes from the start of the finale. I'm gonna at least turn on the show. Wait, I believe Jeopardy's on right now. So anyway, I'm about to turn on the show. I am watching it on this. See the camera on top. And no, I do not know any unofficial sources for US. I feel with this jury, I don't feel a lot of votes are locks. I feel the only locks are the duo of Joe Eva and Camilla would vote for the other duo 4-4. Um, I mean, if we really wanted to like forecast, if we really want to like forecast out like what could happen, like let's say it's like Joe and Kyle, for instance. So let's say for instance it's Joe, Kyle, Mitch. You have Eva votes for Joe. Camilla votes for Kyle. So that's obviously like you said there. Beyond that, like you have David, Mary, probably gets votes. Probably gets votes Kyle. So that's 3 votes. Joe, look at Cedric, I think. Probably gets Chrissy, mainly due to the whole like the fact that Kyle took Joe to the end or allowed Joe to get to the end. So that's 3-3. And then the other 2 votes would be Star and Shaheen. Shaheen votes Joe. And then at that point, it's like, I think Star votes for Joe. Because Star was very high on Joe in our exit interview. She called him the Godfather. Like she compared to like Boston Rob. So I think like the one what like I just find it hard to see how Kyle like gets like that fourth vote to cause a tie. Unless Cedric votes for Kyle, like which to be fair, like me saying Cedric votes for Joe, it's like, I mean, it is entirely possible Cedric votes for Kyle. Maybe Kyle flips Cedric, but I just don't know. Like I still think Cedric would probably lean Joe, which would mean that it is at best a 5-3 for Joe. So I don't know. Either way, I don't think Joe, Kyle, regardless who wins, will be a high tier winner. Like, they don't really do much beyond the de facto alliance layer. I mean that's kind of why I have him so high because it's like he was like in the dominant spot the entire game. Like, I think you can definitely qualm with like how much agency, like how much of it was like Joe making individual decisions because we definitely see at points on the show that's like there are definitely like certain rounds where I feel like Joe like didn't care what was happening. Like I don't think he cared. Like I don't think he cared like that Chrissy went out over Star. I don't think he cared that Star went out over Mary. Like you could argue that, but I do think he also like flipped the game on David. Like I think that's something you could question whether that was the right move for him. But I think it for sure ensured that Evo would be more in his corner than David and Mary's. I think it also ensured that his side would have like more of the numbers than like Mary or Eva moving forward. Beyond that, I mean, it's like he also decides to vote out Shaheen, which again, questionable move, but at least he decided on that. I do think Joe would still be a top tier winner in my eyes. Like I do think he played a mostly impressive game, and the fact that no one turns on him, like even within his own alliance, is pretty good. Is the 50 cast getting revealed tonight? Just rolled up. Welcome, Chrissy. It's supposed to be next week. We in the initial post that came out on Monday, made it sound like it was gonna be tonight because they said Wednesday, but then literally the next day they're like May 28th, so they meant next Wednesday. So it's supposed to be next Wednesday. But though if we had though based on the rumor mill, like we have a good sense of who we have a good picture of who's gonna be on the cast, but officially it's gonna be next week. Does Brooke and Scott probably lose against Matt and Redmond if they get to the end? Brooke and Scott probably lose against everyone except Hello, Mom, Dad, Fall 3. Which winner? They probably still pulled the win, I think. I'm a bit more shocked that Camilla has more win equity than Eva. I don't find it that shocking. Like, I think considering the fact that a lot of the jury's not even happy at Joe, that they're especially not gonna be happy at Eva. And I think when we're comparing them to Camilla, like I think they'll probably see Camilla as like a player that like was trying more, that was trying to like go beyond like this whole honor and integrity thing that Eva and Joe are going for. Who's better, Joe or Tom? Probably Joe. I think Joe's probably more secure in the game than Tom. Like I think Joe actually has people that want to take him to the end, whereas Tom didn't. Can't wait to see if Rumor Cast is 100%. Me too. I'd be curious to see like what differences are, if any. But anyway, we are about 2 minutes from the start of the show. I'm just gonna make a quick bathroom run and then we'll be on our way. All right, be right back. All right, we are back. All right. All right, we're about 2 minutes now from the start of the show. Jeopardy just wrapped up, meaning we're at commercial break, and when we get back, the show will start. Stream still seems to be fine for now. I mean, lasted longer than the last stream went. What do we have here? Matt Redman probably beat Broken Star and Logan based on final like design. I'll stay point of them. I guess so. Yeah, I'll probably need to take another look at like Mason Race 29. This might be the best finale in the new era because I feel with 47 it feels predictable. I feel with this season I feel 3 people have a shot to win the game. I think depending on the outcome, it could be interesting. I mean, I personally think it's pretty predictable, but I mean, if we end up getting blindsided, then it could be better. Hey Will, glad you could join us here. Joe's like winning. Hey Gargan, glad you could also join. Yeah, The stream crashed earlier, which is pretty crazy. Uh Hey Benny, glad you could join us. What's the logo for 49? We haven't gotten it yet, I don't think. Uh I don't know. Might be more like color scheme wise, it might be similar to like 45 and 47s, or like red, probably like red gold, probably like some, if I had to guess. Or maybe it'll be like 46 or 44, like considering that we know like 50, like the 50s like in yellow, so maybe they don't go for that scheme a few seasons in a row. I'm doing pretty well, Benny. Glad. Thanks for asking. Stream crashed. I literally had just updated OBS before starting. Anywho, the show is now starting. All right, we have Jeff talking. All right, yeah, Jeff's talking right now. If you're just joining us, finale has started. All right. All right, Jeff's talking about like bloodshed, pretty violent stuff. No, no mention of Joe, unlike Rachel. Yeah, but I think Jeff is trying to hold back a little bit. Anyway, we're now getting to the Flash. I guess just like their like little intro package. We see the font. I guess it's previously on. Anywho, why is Jeff like Joe? Well, I mean, Joe's like Joe's like a hero that like show can latch onto. Like he sort of fits like their mold of a hero. Like he's a family man, a lot of stuff to talk about, wins a lot of challenges. Like seems to play like a well-rounded game, for lack of a better term. How for Joe? Yeah, like I think it's kind of like that. Like, pretty like I think the Mike Holloway comparison is apt. Yeah, they're just showing all the previously on stuff. We see Xiao Hen getting cooked. They're doing the zoning in effect again, which is it's crazy that they did that. Yeah, they're just really focusing a lot on Joe and this previously on. All right, we're just wrapping up the recap here. Also, I will say I am glad that this is a normal length finale. Like, thank God we're not stretching this out over like 2 nights. Anywho, show's now starting. We're getting to camp here, getting your usual post tribal stuff in. All right, Kyle's talking about the game of chicken. Yep, Kyle's giving himself a lot of credit for this move here, along with Camilla. It's probably not great for Camilla, the fact that Kyle's getting overshadowing her. Now we have Eva and Joe talking. Joe's like, "Uh oh, did we get tricked?" And Eva's like, "Nuh-uh." Eva's like, "I got an idol." All right, Eva's still with Kyle. That's something. So I'm guessing like Camilla's gonna be like the initial target coming into this round. Now if Kyle and Camilla talking. All right, now Camilla's talking about how she's like a good liar and stuff. Mm-mm. Uh-uh. All right, Camilla's like, I'm not gonna say anything until tribal. So that's something at least. That could imply that like Camilla could be like getting to final tribal and like making her pitch there. And then we're not getting to the intro segment. The intro. Everyone's so excited. How's everyone doing here? We got 32 people on stream right now. Here's here's me hoping that the stream doesn't crash here. Anyway, intro just finished. Now we're waking up on day 24 here. No talk from Joe about blindsiding Shaheen. We did get the convo with them and Eva, so but no confessional though. All right, they're just watching sunrise. All right. All right, Joe's getting a nice confessional here, talking about how he's ready to play now. All right. Oh boy, we got exciting stuff here. We got a nice little challenge here. All right, they're doing the advantage before final five. It's gonna be like a redo of the second chance challenge. The redo of the Beware advantage from the pre-merge. All right. Anywho, we're gonna get this challenge now. I wonder who's gonna get this advantage here. We have 41 people tuning in to this finale here. All right, now everyone's underway. Eva's narrating. Camilla's also narrating. Miss anything? Not really. I mean, right now they're doing scramble for advantage for Final Five immunity. That's the main thing that's happening. Beyond that, like we got like again some little stuff that could may or may not mean anything. Everyone's just talking right now. All right. Now Mitch is talking. All right. Seems like they're leaning towards Mitch getting this advantage here, but nothing's happened yet. Everyone's just running around. All right, now Camilla's talking again. Will Mitch actually do anything? Or are we setting up for Eva finding her 8 millionth advantage? We haven't really gotten any setup to Eva getting it. I mean, Eva hasn't gotten that much to do in the scene yet. I think it's probably gonna be between Mitch and Camilla right now. We are seeing Eva and Kyle helping each other though. Like they're definitely like collaborating here. Yeah, once again, Eva like not really looking out for herself here. Kyle's the man if Joe doesn't go the distance and Kyle doesn't go to distance season with a capital L. Kyle's the man if Joe doesn't go to distance and Kyle doesn't go to distance. The season was a capital L. Like, okay, I get you. All right. Up. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Forget everything I just said. Eva has the advantage. Eh, I'm sure she would say so. I don't know if I would say so. And we're probably going to go to commercial here before this immunity challenge here. But yeah, so far, again, kind of your standard fare. Nothing too crazy has blown up yet. But if you're just joining us, Eva has gotten an advantage coming into Final Five immunity. Obviously, we're a commercial break now. When we get back, we're going to get to the Final Five immunity that I'll be doing my play-by-play for. It's likely an immunity advantage. I mean, they did say that it's literally an advantage for the challenge. She's the GOAT when it comes to stockpiling advantages. Putting Drea to shame at this point. In a way, yeah. Anywho, we currently have 41 people watching. We are currently on break. When we get back, we're gonna get to the immunity challenge. Hopefully, stream is holding on here. Seems like we're holding on so far. I just have a commentary. You're good. Yep. I shall say that I am watching this on Paramount Plus, so through that, I'm probably gonna be a bit behind. More standard cable. Uh, I know that happens to me a lot, where I'll be talking on Discord as the episode's happening, and then the episode, like people will say stuff before I see it on the show. So again, I'm probably behind. So, but I'm just gonna react to what happens here. Is it Jover? Not yet. I mean, we still have a whole challenge to play out. I wonder what will happen. Anything can happen. You just have to believe. Anyway, we're still a commercial here. So I'm seeing the playback. Which player is best voted out with Idol in the Pocket on International Survivor? Matt Hancock or Matt Rogers? I'd say we're at the cuff. I guess Matt Rogers? Like, I need to look more into it, though. I haven't really thought. All right, are we good? I think we're good. It says stream is excellent. Anyway, we are back now from commercial. Come on in. It's now time for immunity. Very exciting stuff. Okay, okay, I get you. I get you. I'd still say Matt Rogers probably. All right. Anyway, we're getting to the immunity now. It's going to be your standard obstacle course. Come from behind victory. Possibly. All right, I'm just making sure we're in the right state of mind here. We have 37 people watching. Stream is still holding up somehow. All right, I'm just really trying not to touch my computer here. Try not to open anything else. Hopefully that'll allow the stream to continue. Anyway, it's your standard obstacle course with our puzzle at the end. And there's a reward for Sanctuary where good things happen. Gotta point that out. I am a little behind though, so keep that in mind for reactions. Uh-oh. Yeah, Jeff's mentioning the fact that Joe has 4 immunities. He's 1 away from tying. Now we're getting to Eva's advantage. All right, let's see what it is. I am watching the show. I'm a little behind. All right. So it looks like Eva gets to skip the first step. Yeah, that's not too bad. Like, not too shabby. Okay, we're now getting to the immunity challenge. We've got 30 people watching. Stream seems to be doing all right so far. So let's get right into this here. Okay, we are off to the races here. People are climbing up this net. Got to get over the net. Mitch seems to be the first one. Joe seems the first one over. Mitch not far behind. People seem to be around the same pace. Camille probably slightly behind, but again, not too far behind. They're trying to get through that. Trying to get through the mud pit with the net. All right, Joe seems to have the early lead so far. All right, Joe is the first to clear the net. He's now having to toss the ball. Mitch is the next to get through. They're now tossing the balls. Mitch gets a first try, which is pretty good. Mitch has the early lead. Joe not far behind. Joe's in second. All right, Kyle is third through. Eva not far behind, but is a little slow getting out there. Kyle's now tossing his ball into the contraption. He misses first try. Camilla getting dodo music. Yeah, a little bit. All right, Camilla's in last right now. She is just stuck in the middle of this twisted net. But now Eva's through. She's now tossing her ball. Joe is now at the end. He has to remove some sandbags from his net before he can get his ball through. Seems to be making good progress on it, getting the ball through so far. Kyle's not far behind. Mitch is also making good progress. Camilla's still in the mud pit and just getting out there, getting some dodo music, as Will alluded to. But Camilla's finally through. She looks exhausted right now. But right now, we currently have a three-way race between Joe, Kyle, and Mitch. Camilla is now tossing her ball into the net alongside Eva. Joe is now the first to get his ball out of the net. Now he has to toss it into a separate sort of a buoy weight in order to get the lean upwards. Eva seems to have mud in her eyes. She has to stop now. Joe gets his ball into the second net, revealing his set of numbers. 53, 14, 47. They need to stop with the mud? Probably. They need to stop doing the mud with the first challenge. Like, the fact that they do that in the first challenge when most casuals don't even know who these people are is pretty insane here. Joe, though, is pretty slow getting his numbers. He actually messes up the first try. Eva finally gets her ball through the contraption. Now has to sort her balls out through the nets here. Mitch almost gets his ball through the second contraption, but it's a bit short there. Gets it on a second try. 32, 26, 71 are his numbers. Different numbers there. Joe and Mitch are now working on their combinations. Joe is the first to get his combination through, and with that, he now has his key to get to the next phase here. Kyle has his numbers here. 16, 82, 47. It's the birth into Survivor. Yeah, it's still stupid logic for why they have to do it the very first challenge. You think they would have stopped, like, after Bruce got his concussion on 44, but I guess not. Anywho, Joe is now up on top of the platform. He's now on the puzzle, the final stage of the challenge. Camilla is just now getting her ball to the net. She is in dead last right now. So right now, Joe is the only one in the puzzle phase. Mitch now has his numbers. Kyle not far behind. They're about to get their key so that they can get up to the top of the platform. Mitch is now solidly within second place. Eva has her ball now. She is utilizing her advantage to just get her numbers right at the bat. And with that, again, very small advantage there. Just skipping one minor task. Again, pretty good there. Mitch is wasting immunity if he wins because no one's voting him out. I mean, we'll see. I mean, at this point, Final 5, like, any immunity is good. Anyway, Mitch and Joe are now starting to work on their puzzle. It is the tree puzzle that we have seen plenty of times before. Eva now has her numbers through. She's getting her key, meaning Camilla is now solidly within last place. Though Camilla is now just getting her ball through the first ball net. Now has to get her ball. She gets the second one on her first try, getting her numbers, 18, 43, 55. Now has some opportunity to make up some ground here. But Eva's now getting to the top of the platform. She is now the fourth person to start work on her puzzle. Everyone's now working on their puzzle except for Camilla here. Though it doesn't seem like anyone's making any progress. It's pretty slow progress so far. Hello, Sheen. Glad you could join us here. I don't think he cracked his head open. I think he just got a concussion, if I recall correctly. Though I'm not a doctor, so let me make that clear. Camilla getting her numbers now. She is now in the race. She can now get to the top of the platform where she can start the puzzle. And now everyone is starting to work on the puzzle at this point. Eva is shown getting a piece in. Everyone's very slow getting pieces in, which definitely opens things up for really anyone to win this race at this point. It's just a matter of who. Thanks. Anywho, everyone's now working on the puzzle. Camilla's now shown working on the puzzle. Eva is the early leader here with her getting some pieces in. Kyle now has a piece in as well. Joe is still completely lost, and he's now looking at other people to figure out stuff here. Seems like Camilla now has her piece in. Mitch also getting a piece in. Everyone's now starting to slowly figure out this puzzle here. Eva, though, is still in this early lead here, which is all pretty good. Camilla, though, has her second piece in place now, but with Joe right next to Camilla, he can just copy off her. That's what it seems like he's trying to do at this point. But so far, still hasn't really put any pieces in. Camilla, though, making some quick progress. She now has her third piece in. Eva, though, still has a slight lead. Seems to have a one-piece lead so far. Mitch seems to be having some trouble here, but Eva's still continuing her momentum there. Camilla also quickly finding momentum, which is all pretty good. Seems to be a two-person race between Eva and Camilla for this lead here. Camilla getting another piece in the puzzle. And it seems like Camilla is actually taking the lead at this point, with Eva slowing down and Camilla getting more pieces in. Mitch seems to be in a pretty Mitch though seems to be giving up. Camilla quickly putting in pieces here. It seems like Camilla's really taking the lead on this puzzle, going from last to first, which is all pretty good. Eva slowing down with her clearly being in a distant second. Camilla just quickly making progress on this puzzle here. Yeah, Camilla is just not slowing down. Yep, just more pieces. And Camilla is almost done. Like, it feels like every time we cut to Camilla, she just has more and more pieces. Like, they're just speed running this lead for her. And it seems like Camilla is about to take it down here. And there you have it. Camilla wins Final 5 immunity after being at dead last for most of it. And this is why you don't spoil your own promos. For those of you who don't know, if you watch the promos for the finale here, you can see Camilla wearing the necklace. CBS spoiled their own product by showing Camilla with the necklace here, and how embarrassing. How embarrassing that they spoil this come from behind victory when they wanted it to be full of suspense. Oh, it was also spoiled in the episode description. That's interesting. Come from behind. All right. Anyway, now she has to pick people for reward here. All right, she picks Eva for reward. Anyway, just Eva being picked. All right, we have Camilla getting the confessional, going to commercial break here. We'll get to that when we get there. They're making a huge deal about Camilla not getting voted out. Interesting. So anyway, if you're just joining us, we have 37 people watching. Camilla has won Final 5 immunity. And this is despite Eva having gotten the advantage for the Final 5 immunity challenge. Was it on TV online? I'm watching this on my phone. I'm watching it on Paramount Plus. When is ever not Eva? Literally just last week. I mean, literally, Eva was not picked for a war last week, and she had that whole confessional about how it's like being at home with the babysitter. Who has surprised you the most this season? Probably Camilla. Like, I think Camilla was definitely somewhat of a high variance pick early in the preseason. And I think even in the first couple episodes, there was definitely some potential for there was probably some potential for like a Swati or Gem like flame out. I'm pretty happy with like Camilla doing well here. Matt Rogers to Jeff Schroeder. We're the best players probably when they get in the best round of Benji. Probably. I don't know. I think Matt. I think that was still. I think it was still booted like pretty early, and I feel like he probably would have been a target soon anyway. Feels very on the nose unless she ends up winning tonight. I think my read. I think my read is like Camilla's probably like losing fire making. I think that's a reasonable pick, if I had to guess. Siva should vote out Joe. I mean, we'll see what they end up doing with this vote. I mean, Joe is vulnerable. Eva's vulnerable. I mean, Camille and Kyle, like, what are they gonna do there? Are they like? I mean, they probably have to take the shot at Joe, like, because they know Eva has an idol. She has a public idol that's about to expire. So it's like, why go for her? It's like, what are they gonna vote out Mitch? It's gonna be like 4-1, maybe. Yeah, I don't really know like what the play here is for them, like, other than going for Joe. What would happen if Camilla was on 47 instead of 48? I don't know. Probably goes the same for her. I mean, depends on whose spot she takes on the cast. Like, are we saying she takes Annika's spot? I mean, if she takes Annika's spot, then that's probably bad. She probably still gets taken out. And that's in the spot where Annika gets taken out. Good morning from the Philippines. It's 8:30 in the morning. Good morning. Good morning, JC. Uh, Camilla won. Yes, Camilla has won immunity. Is guaranteed a spot in the final four. How exciting! Which past player would you compare Camilla to? I think archetype wise, I mean, probably similar to like Annika. Like she's probably just like similar casting to Annika, if I had to guess. Sort of like this snippy girl that's also like kind of strategic. She's picking who she's sitting next to. I would agree. I'd agree with that. I don't think Eva's prime to win here. You can use the idol on Joe because Eva's a go. I mean, but if you're Eva though, like, what do you do if you're Eva? Like you're probably thinking it's like okay, both of us are vulnerable. I'm probably safe. I don't know. I think there's a shot that Eva plays the idol on Joe, but it's like when it's literally like the last round. I mean, and there's to be fair, there is setup to her. Like she does talk at the beginning of the episode about how like I have my idol, but I'm fine using it on someone else. So I think maybe that's the path we go here. Like what? So like Camilla, Kyle, Mitch vote for Joe, and then Eva plays the idol on Joe. Is that where we're going here? Anyway, we are now back from commercial. We got Joe and Mitch just sitting around. Joe and Mitch just sitting around. All right, Mitch is just talking about how dirty they are. Yeah, we're getting it next Wednesday on the 28th. It's just the guys talking right now. Not too much there. All right, now they're just cleaning up. Again, this is very important content here. This is very important for how the game's gonna play out. don't know if I like that. Like, I just imagine all the sand getting on my butt. Just they're just lying down on low tide, really shallow water. All right, now Mitch is talking game. Any prediction on who you want on 50? I mean, I have a good I mean, I've been following like the rumor mill, so like I have a good sense of who's on. In terms of like who I've been hearing that I'm probably the most excited to see, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty excited to see like I think Andy. I'm glad to see Andy again. I like Andy. All right, now Kyle's talking about like Mitch being like this jury threat, which sure I guess. All right, so now it's between Joe and Mitch here. Eva doesn't even seem to be an option here. Now getting to the sanctuary where good things happen. Well, they haven't even cleaned up yet. They're just like eating when they're all muddy. Yeah, they're just really hyping up the. Camilla's like really harping on the fact that she's not getting voted out. Uh, this just feels like I don't know. This just feels like set up for Camilla losing fire. Like, don't you think? All right, Eva is talking about Mitch. All right. Hello from the UK. It's 1:30 in the morning on a Thursday. Well, glad you could join us, Selma. I mean, hopefully you're drinking lots of coffee, lots of stuff to keep you up on this finale night. If you're just joining us, Camilla has immunity, final five. Seems like Mitch is the consensus target here. Imagine Camilla screws Kyle over right here. Yeah, that would be funny. You have Joe right there, and yet you vote out Kyle. This will be the fourth time that a player won the game without playing on the fire making since Tony, Erica, and Marianne. Well, let's see what happens. Like, I mean, we're literally at the final five right now. Like, for all we know, Joe could still go to fire or Kyle even. All right, now Camilla is like saying we gotta vote for Mitch because Mitch is a jury vote. Like this is actually like I do think they're cooking. I think they're cooking too much here. Like they're like it is like it is kind of crazy what their logic here is. Like they really are banking on the fact that Joe's not a threat. They're banking on Joe like just being a coach here, so, or like a Mike Turner, like someone just not owning their game. Again, I just think it's gonna blow up in their faces. Like I think they're just gonna drag Joe to the end. They're gonna bank on Joe like tanking Final Tribal. I just don't think it's gonna work. I think they're just gonna let Joe get to the end, and people will just see it as like you took a big threat to the end. It is crazy what they're doing here. Like they are really about to vote out. It seems like they're about to vote out Mitch here. All right, now it looks like what Eva's now just telling Mitch she's going home. Like Yeah, everyone's just telling Mitch he's going home. We're not even seeing Mitch like try to make a move here, like, which is so weird because it's like they focus so much in the edit about how like Mitch is like, oh, I need to make my move, I gotta make my move, I gotta make my move, and then he just goes out like this where he doesn't even try. Like at least like if you have Joe like Mitch saying like, okay, now I'm gonna make the move, like at least then it'd be like, okay, it makes sense. But it's like this is just a weird way to present everything. Yeah, Mitch is done. Like now Mitch is like, oh my they're really like focusing on Mitch's journey now, talking about, oh, I thought my stutter was gonna be a hindrance, like they're about to go to commercial break here with like the cuts. Yeah, it's done. Like there's no suspense here. This sucks. Like they're not even hiding it. Like they're not even pretending there's another option. Eva's just gonna play her idol on herself, and that's it. 4-1. Joe saved. Joe saved while going to fire making. Then he wins the game. Yeah, I agree. Maybe it's the eggs interview, but how is Mitch a jury threat? I think a lot of it's just like I think a lot of it just comes down to a story. Like I think people just assume that Mitch would be like this jury threat because of like the fact that he has a stutter, the fact that he just gives off like this likable vibe. Like it's not at all related to gameplay. Like though to be fair, it's like this jury also like was high on Mary, so it's like maybe they all see him as like an underdog. If I had to guess, so possibly he will coach the finale. Oh yeah, like I would expect Joe to bomb Final Tribal. Like I would expect, I'd expect it to go very similar to like Mike from 42, where it's like he talked about honor and integrity. People like Chrissy like roll their eyes and like they're like okay, okay, but it's like I don't know. Like I think I do think against Eva and against Kyle, like again, I how I see it playing out is like I think Kyle or Camilla, whichever one gets to the end, they're gonna think they're the Marianne. Like they're probably gonna be like they're probably gonna be like, so how I think Final Trap is gonna go. It's like, okay, so Mitch goes home. That guarantees that one of Camilla or Kyle gets the Final Tribal. Joe's gonna be like that. Joe's gonna be like, oh, I believe in the core four. We got down together. We made a statement by showing that you don't need to lie, you don't need to backstab to play the game, and they're like, And then Camilla or Kyle, whichever one's there, they're gonna be like, you got me right, I got him right where you want him, and then they're gonna be like, you guys didn't know this, but I was the mastermind of the game. Me and Camilla, or if it's Camilla, me and Kyle, we were a secret duo. We ran the game. We tricked everyone. We idled out Thomas. We were able to get to the game. No one ever saw us. Like everyone else got picked off. Like we were the real masterminds here. We tricked Joe into voting out David. We tricked Joe into voting out Shaheen. And then the jury's gonna be like, so you didn't even vote out Joe. Anyway, we're actually getting a promo for 50 right now. That's interesting. All right, so yep, so it's next Wednesday. Sorry about that, but yeah, I think that's how this final trap is gonna go. I think Joe's gonna be like I think Kyle or Camilla like they're gonna make the case that they're the masterminds, that they undercut Joe, like they're gonna prove that they were the real brains of the operation, and then the jury's gonna be like, why did you do this? Like I think it's just not gonna go the way that they think it will. So yeah, I think that's just my whole issue with all this. Like it's just the way they're approaching this is really baffling. Anyway, we're back from commercial here. We're getting to tribal now. Everyone's seeing that Camilla has the necklace. Joe, they're bringing out the jury now. as you would expect. Anyway, let's see what the chat is. They edited Mitch like this to show future Survivor players what happens when you sit on your hands. Yeah, probably. We ought allow Thomas. Well, half the jury asks who. Yeah, exactly. Getting out here is better than him losing a final tribal. Oh yeah, like I'm at like I was like thinking about this. Like obviously like my number one scenario on the jury scenarios video. It was like it's Eva, Joe, Mitch, aka Joe versus the two disabled people, and he just steamrolls the jury vote. It's like that's pretty bad optics there. So I guess I'm kind of glad that's not going to happen. So again, that knocks out my number one scenario. But again, just imagine like, and I kind of alluded to this in the past, but it's like I do have issues. I do have issues with how like the season has played out from a representation perspective, and I may talk about it more in like the review and stuff. But I don't want to get too sidetracked right now. Maybe I'll talk about it like once we actually get the scenario. What happens if David ends up flipping on Joe, final tribal? I mean, I feel like that's probably what's gonna happen. I feel like David's probably one of the least likely people to vote for Joe. I want to know people's faces when Mitch gets voted out and ends up being a shock. Yeah, yeah. I think the reaction he'll be interesting, especially if it's like a 4-1 into the spot to where like they don't even attempt to vote out to target Eva or Joe. I'm waiting for David to stand up again in the jury box. What happens if Kyle wins final immunity? Will Camilla go home and normal vote? If we're assuming it's a normal vote, then if it's a normal vote, then it probably goes to fire anyway. Like, cause I don't know. Like, I think, cause I'm trying to think here. Um, it's it. Cause like I think Kyle and Camilla would recognize that like I think Kyle and Camilla are under the impression that they're like the jury favorites, but they're at the end together that they would split the votes. So I don't know. Maybe he would turn on Kyle. Maybe it would go to fire. And especially with like them thinking they can beat Joe in a jury vote, maybe. So actually, now that I think about it, probably turn to Camilla. So anyway, Tribal's boring. Like they're not even hiding it. Like this honestly feels like the Banu tribal, like where it's like they're not even hiding like what's gonna happen here. Anyway, this is a really fast tribal. We're already getting to the vote, and it's based on the music and everything. It's pretty apparent what's gonna happen here. But let's just wait. I'm just gonna respond to more comments here. They should just sped up round. I mean, they gotta fill out the time here. Yeah, they gotta fill out the time. Shot in the Dark expire. Yes, Shot in the Dark expires at final 7. Yeah. It's only good. Yeah, it's only used for final 7. Yeah, they're not. They're even showing the votes. They're even showing the votes. Like they're not even like attempting to hide it. Oh, it expires at 6. I thought it expired at 7. I remember. I know. At least in the earlier New Era seasons, it expired at 7. Anyway, Star just nodding like I told you, bro. Even playing out for Mitch. Yeah, just imagine. Anyway, Jeff has the urn now. Eva's probably just gonna play her idol. Yep, Eva's getting up, playing her idol, probably on herself. Yep, she just played on herself. All right, so Mitch voted for Kyle here. That's interesting. Didn't want to throw a vote in the Joe? All right. That does it. Mitch is voted out 3-1. All right. Mitch is telling Kyle to give him hell, which is in subtitles. Yeah, jury seems very underwhelmed here. Voting out Mitch is asinine. For Kyle and Camilla, it is. Yes, Michael. I agree. Like, this is a mistake here. I really think that Camilla and Kyle are being overconfident here. Like, because they say in the episode that they're voting out Mitch because he'll be a vote for them on the jury, which is like, are they? I mean, Mitch voted for Kyle. Like again, I think Mitch is probably gonna be like underwhelmed here. Like, if anything. But also this was also spoiled by the promo, by the way. So the promo spoiled the jury coming into the final four tribal, and we saw Mitch in the background. So again, really this entire first half was like entirely spoiled by CBS. And to be fair, I mean, outside Camilla winning immunity, it's like, I mean, it's pretty like by the numbers, but still, it is disappointing. I know I should probably update this. So Mitch is gone. Let's see. Can I do a grayscale filter? Um, I'm just curious what this would do. Oh, oh my god, no. I'm trying to think. No, I'll just delete it. I was gonna try to do like the gray out effect, but it's not worth it at this point. And then there were four. If you're just joining us, Mitch has just become the final five boot of the season, meaning we are now down to four. It is Eva versus Joe versus Camilla versus Kyle. Remember South Pacific, Brandon and Rick were jury threats apparently. I'm about to see what happens with exit interviews and stuff. Like in the jury scenarios video, I was very on board with Mitch not being a jury threat, where like I think people are overestimating Mitch's threat level. But obviously that was under the assumption that I thought Mitch was gonna be a runner up based off his edit, where like again, like he was definitely getting like the Jake O'Kane, the Owen style of edit. But I think now with the knowledge that Mitch is not a finalist, uh what is this? Sorry, we're still a commercial break. I think I know that actor. That's T-Mobile, Xfinity. I'll look that up afterwards. Anywho, um, but yeah, maybe we'll learn from exit interviews that Mitch was more of a jury threat. But it's like I feel like Mitch being a jury threat is entirely predicated on like him being an underdog and him having this sympathetic backstory. But we'll have to see what happens. Um, everyone knew Eva had an idol. Yeah, I'm not saying they target Eva. I'm saying they target Joe. Like Mitch at least throws a bone to Joe. Camilla's approach to the jury seems a lot like Laurel's on Ghost Island. Kind of. Though I think what's different though is that I think Laurel was assuming that the jury would split their votes onto. I think Camilla. I think Laurel was assuming that the jury was going to split their votes between Wendell and Dominic, and that would allow her to win in like a plurality or something like that. I think with Camilla though, I think she just genuinely believes she can beat Joe. Like I don't think she's looking at Eva as a threat. I think like if she gets to the end, with like Eva and Joe, for instance, that it's gonna be a final two between her and Joe, and that she'll just be able to undermine Joe. So I think it's slightly different in that regard. We are now back from commercial here. We're getting everyone back at camp celebrating, making it to the final four. Mitch goes down to the player ranking, sitting at 8th, 9th. Yeah. Obviously Mitch was already gonna be low. Mitch is the worst penultimate juror of the new era, right? Let's see. So you have below Ricard, below Lindsay, below Carla, uh, probably below Lauren. Yeah, because Lauren was in a Marisol pre-merge, so probably below Lauren. Below Julie, below Maria, and then below Genevieve. Yeah, so I'd say worse than the new era. He was already ninth of mine. Who goes out fourth? Who goes out fourth? I'm leaning Camilla. I think Camilla might be the final juror, if I had to guess. And then we have Eva and Joe talking right now. All right, Eva's like, I want to win. I want agency for once. All right, so Eva's like, I'm gonna take Joe to the end. Okay. Yeah, the 50 cast announcement is gonna be at 7 a.m. on Wednesday. 7 a.m. Are you serious? I'm not gonna be up at 7 a.m. All right, now we have Kyle and Camilla talking. So we know Eva's gonna take Joe, which I could have told you. All right, so now Camilla is like, "Oh, we gotta split up now. We had to split up now." Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I think they're trying to go. I think they're trying to guarantee. Yeah, so Camilla's gonna target Kyle, which makes sense. So I guess that answers your question, Gyro. About I'm guessing yeah they would vote each other out. I think Kyle would do the same, to be honest. Are we getting a 91-20 minute video of Amazing Race winner ranking? I don't know if I don't know if it'd be that long, but I don't know, probably like an hour if I had to guess. Who do you think Mitch is more likely to vote for, Joe or Camilla Kyle? I had him as a Joe vote in my jury scenarios video. In the scenarios where he's on the jury, I think he sees Joe as like the biggest threat, and I think he's gonna be disappointed that Camilla and Kyle didn't even give him a chance to stay. Eva has a sympathetic backstory. It feels like a double standard just by voting out Mitch. Yeah, I would agree. I think probably like she'd probably say, "Oh, he's an underdog," whereas I was on top. All right, so Joe's saying I'm taking Eva to the end. Makes sense. I don't think Eva can win this unless she throws herself in the fire and wins. She's not going to do that. I don't think she would. And even then, like, I don't think she would win even if she did do that. So, problem with undermining Joe is that Colin Camilla brought him into these plans. Yeah, that's a major issue. Like, because like Joe votes out Shaheen. Like, their whole thing is that they convinced Joe to vote Shaheen. So like, it'd be one thing if like they tricked Shaheen to voting for like Mitch or something. So yeah, I would agree. Even banking on the Adam Klein strategy, kind of. Anyway, we're getting to final immunity, and it's some motion. Everyone's favorite challenge, some motion. Kyle taking Joe to final travel. Oh yeah, it is ridiculous. We need more Amazing Race content. I had a Amazing Race channel, made 2 videos where I gave up on. You should keep trying. Like don't give up. Like you should definitely like try it. I don't like some motion. I don't mind some motion actually. Like admittedly, I think a lot of it's just seeing like the rotation of the balls. Like I think just seeing the system motion. Like I think visually it's interesting, but I do agree they use it too much. Like, and especially as the final immunity challenge, it's kind of underwhelming. I like some motion because it's one challenge I could actually win. I'd probably be bad at it. Like I think like I'm just a bit too clumsy with my hands, so I probably would botch it. Like I probably botch like catching the ball. Yeah, you should definitely like again like if you have like the desire to do it, you should definitely do it. We have 50 people watching. We're about to get the final immunity, which is some motion. All right, Jeff is just explaining how it works. Kind of wish we had Fallen Comrades challenge because that's the only way to quantify a social game. It is I do like Fallen Comrades, but I understand why they don't do it anymore. I mean, because I think it's just tough for them to come up with like individual questions that only apply to one specific person. Because if you don't know, one of the reasons why they don't have it anymore is because of Survivor Africa season 3. They had a question that had like 2 correct answers. I believe it was like who had like a I think it was who had like a belly piercing or a nose piercing or something like that. No, I think it was a belly piercing. And there were two correct answers, but and I think Lex said one person, Kim Johnson said another person. But they gave Kim the point, and it was actually the deciding point. So that's why they don't do it anymore. They did one more time in more cases, but that was also Visepia also broke the challenge by using a journal as her. She brought a journal as her personal item and just like memorized everything, which felt very Big Brother like in her just studying. But I would agree, like they would definitely need to modify it, but like I wouldn't be opposed to them bringing it back in some capacity. They should bring back Hands on Hard Idol. They should, but the problem is that you need a Final 2 for that because I don't think it works as well with 4 people in the challenge. Anyway, challenge is underway right now. So far, pretty straightforward stuff. No one's really dropped. No one's really struggled so far yet. Touchy subjects. Yeah, it's fun as like a reward challenge. Maybe not for immunity though, but definitely for a reward challenge, it could be fun. Camilla could be dropping here. Nope. Yep, so far everyone's just going at it. Alright, seems like Eva's about to. Nope. I keep thinking someone's about to drop, but then they don't, based off the camera angles. Seems like everyone's doing fine with set 2 balls right now. Alright, now we're getting to ball number 3. Nope. Oh, nope. Eva almost dropped until she didn't. Yeah, people. Yeah, we have a bunch of like near misses. Eva's gonna drop. Yep, Eva's dropped out and she's done. Guess it wasn't DX. So Eva's out. Now it's down to 3. Yeah, Eva just looks disappointed. Joe's gonna drop. Yeah, they've been editing this in a pretty compelling way. They keep edging a Joe drop. All right. Yep, everyone's managing 3 balls so far. Yeah, Eva just looks not pleased. Uh, looks like it. At the very least, she's like pretty devastated. All right, so now we're up to 4 balls. Yep, a lot of quick cuts happening here. No one's really dropping yet. Seems like Camilla has dropped. She botched the catch when she was going for it, and it is now between Joe and Kyle for who will win final immunity. We have 63 people watching. And Joe drops, meeting Kyle has won final immunity. Interesting stuff here. So I guess that means Camilla's going into fire. I'm guessing we're getting Camilla Eva into fire. That's what it seems like. Enjoy fire, Camilla. What a Malcolm move. I mean, to be fair, I think Kyle was gonna do it anyway. Might have done it anyway. But yeah, like them showing Camilla telling Kyle she would put him in fire was definitely an indication that she herself was going to fire. Did Mitch get voted out? Yes, he did. Can you give a quick recap of what's happened so far? Yeah. So Final Five, Camilla wins immunity. Mitch is voted out 4-1. It was a very boring tribal, no suspense at all. And now we just got here Kyle winning final immunity right after we see Camilla telling him that she would have targeted him had she won immunity. And I believe we also got footage of Kyle saying that he'd take Joe to the end. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought I caught that. I was talking while it happened, but I think that's what happened. Yeah, I think that's what we're getting set up to here. Kyle's gonna look silly not putting Joe in. Yeah, I think that's his whole problem. Like, I think he is just entirely banking on the fact that he'll beat Joe at the end. And I do think the fact that he's not even attempting to target Joe is questionable. Like, he thinks it's gonna come off as him dragging Joe and him like using Joe to weaponize his game. But again, I just think it's gonna come off as the opposite. I think it's gonna come off as Kyle allowing Joe to get to the end. And I think it's gonna come off as Joe like convincing Kyle to not target him. Kyle were smart, he should put himself versus Joe, just like Chris versus Chris. I don't. Yeah, he probably should. Like I think that should be his move. And it probably would be fine if he didn't already vote out Mitch. Also, we got several new people in the Discord server. Welcome, welcome aboard. I'm just checking some stuff. Anyhow, Kyle is Caitlyn from Brains versus Braun 2. Uh, kind of. I mean, at least Caitlyn cut AJ at the end. Mind you, it was kind of last second decision, but at least he cut AJ. Kyle may not even cut Joe. Kyle should take Camilla and discredit her whole game by saying she wouldn't have been anything without him, without carrying her the whole game. I mean, is that even in Kyle's nature to do that? I don't know. Like, I think he very much sees Camilla as an equal. Mind you, I do think Kyle probably played the better game compared to Camilla. I think I would expect Kyle to be above Camilla, but it's not a great look. And I would be interested to see how different their approaches are based on exit interviews. But based on what we've seen, it seems like they are doing similar things. And I think had the roles been reversed, had been Camilla winning immunity, I think she probably does the same thing. Do you think Joe tries to save Eva by telling Kyle to put him in the fire? Uh, maybe. Maybe. I'd probably say Joe. We have Tommy, Erica, Marianne, Joe. Probably not going to winning the game. Yeah, I mean, at least among me, at least among people who have not won immunity and got saved from fire. And then we are back from commercial here. So if you're just joining us, Kyle has won fall immunity, and he is guaranteed a spot in the end. All right, it's looking like Kyle is going to keep Joe around, take Joe to the end. Can't risk someone beating Joe on fire. That's not you, and get that on their resume. That's a game losing move. I mean, it really depends on like how much stock you really put into fire making. I think for the most part, my philosophy would be like, it's like, yes, you risk putting a move on the resume and risk possibly losing the game if the jury cares about fire making, which obviously you can't know for sure 100% because we've seen some juries care about it, some juries don't. But it's like, at least take the risk because it's like, because like you're gonna, because like unless you're 100% sure that this person cannot win at the end, or let me put it another way, if you think the fire making challenge is going to make the difference between someone winning and someone losing, then shouldn't it like make you reconsider your game plan up to that point? Because it's like, okay, so it's like if you're worried about like them losing in fire, just put yourself in the fire. Because it's like, what would you rather do? Would you rather go for second? It just feels like that's your entire approach. Anyway, so Kyle's telling Eva that he's putting her on a fire. Yeah, Eva is not taking it well, obviously. I mean, it's like because I think there's two ways you can spin it. Like, because I think there's two ways you can spin it. Because like on one hand, it's like okay, you put him in the fire, the person wins, and then they have a move to put on their resume. Okay, you could then say okay, so the person won fire. That's one more thing to put on the resume. But then if you do the opposite, if you don't put him in the fire, then you're guaranteeing that everything that they're worried about is something that's going to be used against you at Final Tribal. And on top of that, they can also turn around and claim that you convinced them to not put them in fire, that they convinced them to not put them in the fire. Like I just think this whole notion of like you can't put your biggest threat in the fire is just kind of misguided. Because it's either because I feel like there's enough ways you can spin it to try to make it seem like you are the person that like had control, and then again, like you can't like be playing scared like that. I feel like it's just playing scared. If you just don't put your person in the fire because you're worried about what that would do for the resume. We literally saw this with Xander in 41. He didn't put Eric in the fire because he thought that would be a move for Erica's resume, and Erica still won. So the way I see it is like either you are guaranteeing. I feel, and again, this is coming from my perspective, someone that doesn't really see fire as like that big of a deal. And it's like at the same time, it's like if you think fire is that big of a difference, then put yourself in the fire. So it's like I feel like either way, it's kind of a losing argument. Either way, it is going to make come us pretty passive. I know that was kind of a rambly way of putting it, but that's just how I kind of see it. But anyway, we're getting Eva like kind of struggling here, which again just feels more like setup to Camilla losing. I do think Eva's going to win this fire making challenge, by the way. Let me see these comments here. No, I think again, we see this a lot. I think we see like the person who wins fire like struggling a lot. Like we've seen this before, and I think there's definitely set up to Camilla losing fire. I think Camilla is going to lose this matchup. So anyway, Eva's upset here. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Well, like we've seen this before. Anyway, yeah, Eva's really upset. So now Joe's going over to help her out. Yeah, you can't really again, you can't really hide this content here. So yeah, now Kyle's gonna weigh in. He is talking about how like he feels bad for putting Eva in this position. Well, it's a game. Yeah, just imagine if Kyle changes his mind because of this. Okay, now Kyle's like weighing the idea of putting himself in the fire against Camilla. Oh my god. He is just he just this is just funny. This feels more like why everyone lost instead of why Joe won. Anyway, now we're cutting to Joe and Eva. Yep. So how far away was she from camp? Like it seems like she was pretty far from camp. Yeah. This is a this is rough. All right, so now Joe is like volunteering for fire. Yeah, and Eva is saying no. Like, yeah, they're really propping up Joe right now, which again, is just more evidence of yeah. Like I do think Eva's gonna win this fire making challenge. Like again, we've seen this before, and I just feel like there's again. I feel like Camilla, like I feel like that previous scene of like talking about Camilla as a threat, talking like Camilla talked about how she never got voted out, uh, and her framing her winning Final Five immunity that way, and then her telling Kyle that she would have thrown him in the fire. I think that's blatant setup to Camilla losing this fire making challenge. But yeah, Joe's like volunteering to go into fire. Yeah, now Joe is helping her practice. Anyway, this is something. Um 6-2. Kyle's not never gonna change his mind either. Yeah, I don't think my view my I don't think my projection of the jury votes changed that much. So anyway, now Eva's making the fire. I just think this is, I just think all this has been like kind of hard for me to process. Like because it's like yes, it's like Eva is struggling out there, and I do feel for her in that regard. But it's like I don't know. It's like the way that they're framing it is like Joe's like the hero that's like helping her through all this. It's just really, I think it's that aspect of it that makes it kind of hard for me. But anyway, we're kind of Camilla. So now Camilla's kind of getting Dodo content. No, like I don't think Joe's doing fire. I think it's clearly pointing to Eva winning, beating the odds, and beating Camilla here. Also, it's 9:26. Like, oh, yeah, I mean, we are getting 3 hours for this, so we're making a reasonable time so far. Okay, so now they're showing Camilla being like, okay, I've grown, I've adapted. This again, that we've seen this. I feel like this is just gonna be like a red herring. Okay. Mm. Okay, we're at commercial right now. So so again, I do have some thoughts here. I mean, I'll probably reiterate them. I think I found a better way to phrase some of this stuff here. So first up, I think the whole debate over whether like you put your big threat into fire or not, like again, I think in most situations is just misguided. Like now, yes, you can say that like in 46, for example, Kenzie going to fire may have tipped the needle a bit. Though at the same time, like I still think Maria probably would have voted for Kenzie anyway. I think she was just looking for an excuse to not vote for Charlie because she thought she was better than Charlie. So even that I can kind of excuse. I would say Gabler was already like again kind of hovering a bit. Like you can say that the fire making challenge made a difference for him. Though to be fair, at least in that situation, he did take on the person who actually was the biggest threat. So I think that's a key distinction here. But I just feel like on any given season, if you're in the position that Kyle is in, you should put the biggest threat in the fire. Because the way you look at it is like, okay, if you put them in the fire, yes, there is a chance that they win the fire making challenge. There's a chance that if that happens, that the people will perceive that as another move on their resume that makes a difference. But if you don't put them in the fire, you guarantee that person is there anyway. And especially if you are not the one making fire, and if you are putting that much stock into the fire making challenge, then you might as well put yourself in the fire because either you think the fire making challenge should make a difference, which if it does, you should be ensuring you're in that spot with your if you win immunity, then you are guaranteeing yourself there. Or if it doesn't matter at all, if it doesn't change the calculus, and you're basing jury threat level based on stuff that's happened before the game, just put them in the fire. Like, who cares? Because yes, they may win, and they'll win, but there's also a chance that they don't win. There's a chance that they can at least be taken out there. So I do think Kyle is making a mistake here. And I think a lot of it just stems from overconfidence. I think Kyle is just thinking that his resume will be good enough to withstand Joe's. And I think he is banking on the fact that Joe is going to not own his game. I think Kyle is banking on the fact that he's going to be able to take credit for moves that Joe's a part of. I just feel like this end game for Kyle has just been full of half measures, and I do think it's going to backfire on Kyle. And I know there's truthers for Kyle's out there. I think there are people looking at what Kyle's doing as you could say that what Kyle's doing is proper threat management, but at the same time, like he doesn't cut Joe. Like if Kyle had if Kyle was just taking Joe to like Final Five, Final Four, just because of threat management, because he thinks that if he takes out Joe too soon, that he'll become the biggest threat. I can live with that. I can be fine with that. But the fact that he is actively taking Joe to the end and doing all this other stuff that is he thinks is undermining Joe is just ludicrous. I think it's just gonna backfire. And I think all the people that are saying that Kyle's gonna win a jury vote by doing this, and that the jury will be bitter against Joe, again, I think it's just copium. Like I think people are just so much hoping that Joe is going to lose the game that they're just latching onto anything that they can latch onto. But I don't think it's going to work out. I think Joe's going to win, and that'll be it. I think the season's done. I think the season is over. Eva's going to win the fire making challenge. We're going to get Eva versus Joe versus Mitch. I mean, Eva versus Joe versus Kyle, excuse me. And then Joe's just going to win. So there's that. I know we've got some more comments here. Jeffers is that game third place. Looking forward to seeing how Joe will sacrifice himself for Eva at the tribal. Yeah, oh yeah, that never came into play. Anyway, we're back from commercial now. We're not getting the tribal. Mitch just looks like really. Yes, yes. If I had to make a prediction right now, I do think that Camilla will lose his fire making challenge, especially against Eva. I think with the way the edit's leaning, I do think Camilla's about to be the final juror. If Camilla beats Eva in the fire, I argue this is one of the best final threes ever. I mean, it's probably the best in a new era. Probably, I could definitely argue that. This is like Cody taking Derek or MJ taking Chelsea to the final two and loses the game. Kind of. Yeah. I think there's probably similarities. Though I think Cody at least recognized that he would lose to Derek. I think. Did MJ think she was losing to Chelsea? I think so. Definitely think bitter jury Kyle will win. I don't agree. Again, I think the jury's not happy with Joe, but I just don't think they're going to be bitter enough to vote against Joe in this final three, especially with the way Kyle's been playing this end game. Hope 49 is better than 48 to get us hyped for 50. I hope so too. Anyway, we're currently in the deliberation. So anyway, Kyle's explaining his decision, and Shaheen is just shocked. Like, yeah, like everyone, like I think this jury is just flabbergasted by what Kyle's doing here. Jury reaction speaks volumes. Star and Shaheen. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they just look flabbergasted. Kyle's making the biggest choke in Survivor history since Woo. 6:30 p.m. and we haven't started the fire making challenge yet. Come on. Anyway, we're going to commercial. We usually go to commercial before the fire making challenge. Anyway, I am going to go to the bathroom. I'm just gonna run to the bathroom. We're going to commercial. About to get to the fire making challenge between Eva and Camilla here, but I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Still a commercial. Let's see what do we have here. We're excited for Ava's World. We're not coming up probably next month. Yeah, June 22nd is the premiere. I think George's reaction decision says that took nerve and possibly went for Kyle. I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I agree with that, but again, we'll see what happens. Which 48 players should be on the traders? I think Thomas would be fun on the traders. Probably Thomas. Shaheen would be fun. I think those probably the most likely traders candidates. Looking forward to AV versus World because crossover Parvati archetype. Uh, yeah, because Parvati's on it. Anyway, we have 71 people watching right now. We are still a commercial waiting for this epic fire making challenge. How exciting. Anyone know? Oh, can you not see the live stream? I'm not seeing any issues on my end right now. I'm just waving my hand if anyone can see it. Between the final four who will be on traders, probably Camilla. It's probably the person I would most want to see on the traders of this final four. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think Eva would win this fire making challenge. Anyway, we are back on commercial. Anyway, we are about to get an epic fire making challenge between Camilla and Eva. All right. Okay, I'm also minimizing this so there's no spoilers by chat. Anyway, we are underway with the fire making challenge here. Everyone's starting to get their base work here. A lot of focus on Eva so far. Camilla took a bit more time to gather some stuff, but nothing yet. Anyway, Camilla is just has some husk here, but Eva seems to be working in some sticks here, sort of a mix right at the bat. Nothing yet. Okay, Eva is the first to get a flame here. Cut the Joe. All right, Eva is first to get a fire going. Camilla currently has nothing. Eva is starting to build some work here. Yeah, Eva has a lot going on, but like very little depth. It seems like her sticks have like no structure right now, which is an issue. Camilla has nothing right now, but Eva's building momentum. Like she's got more fire going. She's putting on more sticks. Her fire seems to be growing. It's definitely not shrinking. She's definitely heading in the right direction. Camilla has absolutely nothing right now. Cutting back to Joe. Eva already is getting towards the flame here, towards the line here. Camilla still has nothing. Talking about how everything's cramping for her. Eva has all the momentum right now. Yep, Eva is just working on it more and more. Keeps on getting bigger. Her flame is already touching the rope. Yep, Mary just saying it's over. Yeah, Camilla still has nothing. Eva's though, the wind is starting to play a factor for Eva. Her flame is starting to go to the side. Yep, and now it's starting to shrink. Camilla still has nothing, by the way. Yep, and it's kind of again, kind of just making a joke out of it. Eva's fire's dead. I mean, she still has some stuff, but it's kind of died down. A lot of the stuff is already burned, and now Eva is panicking. She's starting to panic here. Camilla still has absolutely nothing. Like Camilla has nothing going on. Anyway, all right, now Camilla and Eva are talking a bit. Eva's worried that Camilla's going to catch up when Camilla has nothing. She's trying to reignite the flame here. All right, Joe's trying to help her calm down here. Okay, now Eva's starting to build back up. Camilla finally caught a flame here. It's very tiny right now. And it's gone. Everyone in the entire jury just like is like this. Anyway, Eva's flame is back up. It's already back up to the flame here. Camilla just struggling to get a flame going here, but Eva's slowly working on it. Already at the rope again. Camilla's got nothing going on again. Shaheen points to the flame and Eva's won. Eva has won the fire making challenge, meaning that Camilla is the final juror. Immediately, Joe goes up to hug Eva here. Kyle goes up to hug Camilla here. Cut to Mitch. All right. All right. That was something. Are we still on stream here? I don't see any chats. Okay. All right. I just got the chats. Yeah, it was definitely lagging. But anyway, we're getting our post jury chatter here. Is this the worst fire performance in Survivor history? No. If we're talking strictly on fire making ability, nothing will ever top Becky versus Sundra from Cook Islands. But this is definitely probably one of the most underwhelming ones in recent history. All right, circling back, Mary's comment about nobody caring for fire makes a lot of sense. Oh yeah, like for sure, I would agree with that probably. So anyway, let me just again, I'm kind of playing with fire here by doing stuff on my computer. We have a super chat. Again, I don't really know how to display super chats here. Simon Mel with a $2 super chat here. Autistic people like me can do it too. Yo, yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely relate to that. Like, and again, I'm glad that Eva got to the end from that aspect to it. Anyway, I was trying to pull up something else here. Thank you for the super chat, Simon Mel. I'm just gonna like that. So we have Eva versus Joe versus Kyle, which I had number 3. Let me just open it up here. Um. So in this scenario, I have Joe winning in a 5-3 vote against Kyle. I would show it, but I don't want to risk the stream crashing because it crashed earlier. Anyway, time to sadly say goodbye to Camilla. Right. There we have it. Kenzie versus Liz. I thought that was better than this one. I thought this one was kind of underwhelming. This finale's boring. Yeah, I feel like it's been very telegraphed so far. But yeah, I this was the number 3 scenario on my board here. Anyway, we're now commercial here. If you're just joining us, we just had Kyle winning Final Four immunity, deciding to say Joe, which is crazy, and then Kyle decides to put Eva and Camilla into fire, where Eva ends up winning, and now we have Eva versus Joe versus Kyle. All right, sorry about that. All right, we have questions. Where was it ranked to your most likely final tribal? Yeah, it was number 3 on the jury scenarios video. I think number 1 I had Eva, Joe, Mitch, but obviously that was immediately nicked by the final 5 round. Kyle wins with an all-time final tribal speech. That would be interesting. I feel like that would be fun. I just don't think it's gonna happen though, which is unfortunate. Is this one of the seasons of all time? I'm not sure if you mean best or worst. The season has been pretty boring, predictable. Yep. Joe will be the Mike Turner of the season. I think there are similarities with Joe and Mike, but I think the receptions can be different. And edit wise, I feel like they're very different, especially at this point in the season. Uh, Kyle was the only smart juror in 47. Sure. All right. Um, does Liz and Teeny have a final word for final juror? I don't think they did. I don't think they did. Because what are they going to show? They're going to show the fire making challenge end. I would think so. Mary for Survivor 50. That'd be something. Who do you think's a lock for 50? On this cast, probably Joe. I mean, we're gonna get a cast next week. I mean, we're gonna get the official cast reveal next week, so we'll see at that point. But I think from this season, probably Joe is like the big lock. I need to see Mary and Kyle's jury votes. Well, we're probably gonna see them soon enough. At least David's speech will be interesting. I think David might have some cool things to say. Okay, Liz had a final word. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember if she did or not. I bet Shaheen's a male 50 if Joe wins. I don't know. I think Joe will be on. Anyway, we're back from commercial. We're gonna get your standard day 26 stuff. Not too special here. Let's just see what they have to say here. Can Eva pull off the win? I don't think she does. And especially not in this final three where Kyle's there to draw votes away. I think it's gonna be really tough for. I feel like I just don't see where the votes go for Eva, especially with Kyle there as like this alternative for David and Mary to choose. I don't think Say's on 50. I think she was in the casting pool at one point, but she got cut. And then we're getting your all right. Now we're getting the jury talk stuff. All right, so now Kyle's talking himself as the relationships guy, really making the Kalen pitch here. All right, Shaheen is propping up Kyle here. Now Camilla's propping him up. All right, Camilla just said that people don't know Kyle's game. That's gonna be an issue. Well, of course they have to present it that way. Anyway, now Eva's talking. All right, now Mary. All right, Mary just kind of gave like a weird backhanded compliment to Eva. No. All right, Camilla's talking about Eva. Cedric said something about Eva as well. Yeah, like yeah, it didn't. Yeah, I didn't feel like that. That did not feel like a high assessment from Mary. All right, so now Eva's telling Joe and Kyle about her getting a PhD. Okay. Kyle's gonna tell them he's a lawyer. I mean, he already told Camilla he's a lawyer, didn't he? Up, here it comes. Yep. Her Colby's, Marie, Stephanie, Amanda, Q, Alicia. Wait, where'd you hear Alicia? I've been following the rumor mill as well. Like I've heard like all those names you mentioned, except for Alicia. Like Elisa Calloway, I'm assuming. I don't think Elisa's on. We already have because like there's already like two Australian Outback people on the 50 cast, isn't there? You already have Elizabeth and Colby. So now Joe's talking. Yeah, 4-4 tie. Eva breaks it. Yeah, I haven't heard I haven't heard Alicia. Her Alicia on I'm assuming you mean Bean's video. Like I know Bean's like they anyway, Chrissy is propping up Joe. All right, David. All right, David is setting up him not being happy at Joe. All right, David is basically setting up Joe. Like he's saying, I need Joe to own up to his game. Interesting. All right, Star is now talking about Joe. All right. I don't think I saw that. I think Beans talked about Alicia in their worst case scenario cast video. But yeah, I don't think Alicia's on the cast from what I've heard. Anyway, we're now getting to tribal here. Are you gonna update the runner-up ranking? I don't think so. Would stand, but I don't see the point of remaking the whole video. Anyway, we currently have 102 people watching. Thank you all for joining us. We are now getting to final tribal. We have Eva versus Joe versus Kyle here. All right, we're going to commercial here. All right, while we wait for tribal to come, I guess we can talk a bit more. Of Amanda and Ozzy are on 50 together. Love each. Oh yeah, yeah. it would be interesting. Like I don't think I don't know. Would the show focus much on their history together? Not sure. Hoping for a Kyle win. I don't know. Like I probably would have said I probably would have said before that like okay like I think from a gameplay perspective like if we are looking at their navigation through the game like I do think Joe and Kyle probably on a similar note. But like I just think the whole problem with Kyle is like he just allowed Joe to get to the end. Like and honestly we'll see how the jury vote breaks down and whether Kyle's read is accurate. But I just find Kyle's like end game like very frustrating. Like because again the fact that he like actively takes Joe to the end, like if he ends up like losing in a landslide, like I think that's like a pretty big knock to his game. Like the fact that he just enabled Joe to get to the end and just having this complete misread on the jury. Or alternatively, like if he like knew that he was gonna lose to Joe, but just didn't because like he just didn't have a killer instinct. I just find like Kyle's end game like really perplexing. And I'll be curious to see like exit interviews. Like obviously, I think those may play a factor, but I just think like the fact that Kyle just if he loses, like this is 100% on him. Like he just completely enabled this. I think that's just gonna be an issue. Calling a 7-1 Joe win. It's not impossible. I mean, I think if Joe has an all right final trial performance, I could definitely see Joe like picking more votes. I think I could see this jury also reacting poorly to like Kyle's like response here. Like I could definitely see them being turned off by like Kyle's justifications for taking Joe deeper into the game. But again, we'll see how final trial plays out. No big moves. I don't know. I think I think you could quantify that David Blinds as a big move, but yeah, I do find I think I'm definitely like lower in the season. Like even for ignoring the spoilers, like I just feel like the gameplay in these last few rounds it's been really lackluster. 4-4 Eva votes Joe. Maybe. Did Joe win another immunity? No, he did not. Camilla won Final Five immunity. Kyle won Final Four immunity. That's how it broke down. Anyway, we're now back from commercial. We are getting right into Final Tribal here. All right, here we go. All right, Cedric is the first to speak. Which is fair. How would you feel about Star or Gabe for 50? I don't need them. Okay. Talking about something that people didn't even see. That could also sit poorly depending on its future responses. All right, now Mitch is talking. He's asking how you use relationships in the game. propping up Joe right now, which is not going exactly user safety with the power. Okay. Okay. All right. So now Chrissy's pushing back. All right. So now Star is weighing in. Yeah. So far, Eva's like doing what I expected her to do, which I don't think is gonna work on this jury. All right. Star is asking for news information. All right. Now she's bringing up the safety without power that she never used. He hasn't really had a chance to talk in a bit. All right. Now Kyle. All right. Okay. Okay. That's not what he thought. That's not where I thought this was going. I thought he was gonna drop the Camilla relationship here. He's talking about his like his personal background. So not what I was expecting. Yeah, I thought that's what he was gonna bring up too. Like, again, not really game related, but interesting to know. Uh, no, no, he shouldn't bring up the Thomas move because like only on the jury like what only Shaheen Camilla were there for that move. Yeah, again, this is not really game related at all. Are are you having trouble with Paramount Plus? That's where I'm not having issues with Paramount Plus right now. Yeah, I'm not really having issues with mine right now, but we'll see. Yeah. I'm doing my best to like describe what's happening. Yeah, Eva just talked about like her like academic career and stuff. So now Mary's asking a question. All right, Mary's asking what the perception is of people. All right, I'm just gonna grab my other phone just in case it crashes. Uh oh, she's falling right into the trap. Uh-oh. Eva just fully believed the Kyle lie and Camilla lie. Now Shaheen's correcting the record. Camilla's teeing up Now Camilla's teeing up Kyle to take credit for this Shaheen move. I'd say Kyle's doing fine right now. Like Joe hasn't really talked much so far. So yeah, now Kyle's taking credit for the Shaheen move, which he should be doing here. Yeah, this is good. All right, good. All right, so now David is getting a question here. What's happening? All right. All right. So, all right. David playing the long game with his acting resume. Okay, so now David's like asking about like challenges, and Joe's like talking about his challenge performance. Like Joe himself has not done much here. Oh yeah, like Eva's probably gonna lose anyway, but like again, like this is what I thought she was gonna do. She was just like not gonna like come off well here. I don't think she is. Am I the only one who doesn't like David? Like David's like okay, like I don't love him as a character, but like he's not that bad. But yeah, I mean, Joe's like again, like Joe hasn't like, really had to do much so far, which could be a good thing for him. We'll see. All right. All-time tribal buddy's a lawyer. Should have expected it. I mean, I still think he needs to address like the end game stuff, like keeping Joe around. Like I think he again he took the opportunity for Camilla to take credit, but obviously like there's still like other stuff to explain with Kyle. All right, we're already wrapping up tribal, which is weird. All right now they're giving their final pitches. Kyle's talking about being like a well-rounded person and stuff, and riding the middle. Your connection keeps cutting out. That sucks. Yeah, right now Kyle's just like giving his pitch here. Now Joe's giving his pitch. Hulu, Paramount Plus. Yeah, I'm watching on Paramount Plus. Like I haven't had any issues with Paramount Plus. Like I don't know why it's like struggling. Like yeah, I don't know why it's down for you. Like that's kind of weird. I think Kyle is screwed either way since he needs at least 5 votes. Since Eva would vote for Joe in a tie. Anyway, Eva's talking right now. Would you be surprised if Joe was in a middle C at Found Trouble? I was thinking Joe was going to win Found Trouble. The middle C theory is going to continue, but it turned out it wasn't. Well, we haven't gotten to the vote yet. I mean, I feel like the Final Tribal like made it seem like Kyle did a good job, so take that for what you will. All right, so Final Tribal just wrapped up, and we're gonna get to commercial here. So, so anyway, so I think if we're looking at the Final Tribal performances here, okay, I think Eva, I think Eva did how I expected her, which was not well. Again, I think her issue was like she just played. Again, she got called out. Like she got called out for the Shaheen move, like with her believing the lie from Kyle and Camilla. I think Kyle really took that to undercut her. Also, also the whole like I'm conflicted about like her like talking about like her like stuff like again, I think she props up Joe too much. I think she again kind of comes off as a again on aloof when it comes to the Shaheen vote. Again, I don't think Eva's getting any votes. I think that much is clear. Joe, like Joe didn't have like a I wouldn't say it was a great performance, but not a bad performance. I was expecting Joe to get called out on more for like his honor and integrity stuff. I think it was I was expecting him to get called out more on that, but he really didn't. Like he didn't really talk much that Final Tribal. Like he talked about like again, he gave like a speech at the beginning. He gives himself a chance to come off as like more of a gamer when he talks about how like I want it to be based on game instead of like these like out of the game stuff with like Eva. And then I think Joe's called out has been cut. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if like he did get called out more. Like I think that wouldn't shock. I mean, maybe it'll come out that he did, but like from what we saw, like it didn't seem like he was given that bad, which again could be a sign that he could win. And yeah, he just talked about his physical game. I mean, again, I feel like Joe's someone who, again, from what we saw, he didn't do as bad as I thought. Like I was worried that he was going to harp on the honesty and integrity, and that he'd be called out on it. People would be like kind of annoyed, but instead, like he didn't really talk that much. Like though, at the same time, I don't think this really changed my view on the results. I still think Joe's going to win. I think Kyle maybe gets Shaheen's vote. But again, even if he gets Shaheen's vote, that's a 4-4 tie. And Eva would obviously vote for Joe in that situation. But at the same time, like, Shaheen was also very high on Joe in his exit interview as well. So, like, I do think Shaheen may still vote. I'm still thinking it may be a 5-3. Camilla votes for Kyle. I think that's locked in. Again, and I think it really comes down to David and Mary. Like, I think I think David said in his jury scene that he was looking for Joe to own up to his game. We didn't really see that. Like, I feel like there wasn't really an opportunity for Joe to do it based on the show. All three had terrible performances. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say they were that bad. Because Joe for sure was called out. voice an unpopular opinion. I hate Boston Rob. I don't know. Like, I think there are definitely people that dislike Boston Rob. I think there are people who think he's overrated. I personally like him though. I think he's a fun narrator and stuff, and a good player. Kyle's could have been way better. Yeah, probably. I think there are definitely things he could have responded to more. And and again, like I think what I stand by earlier probably will still hold. Like with the whole like end game, like the entire optics of taking Joe to the end is definitely questionable in my eyes. Never hiring Kyle as a lawyer since he can't even interject. I think Kyle needed to be more forceful. I don't know. I feel like his Shaheen response was fine enough. Anyway, we currently have 155 people in stream. Thank you all for joining us. We just wrapped up Final Tribal here. We're about to get to the jury vote here. Anyway, what did I miss? Well, you're about to get to the most fun part. That is the actual jury vote. Anyway, you're undecided. Again, I still think Joe's gonna win. Like, I feel like there's enough there. I think based on the way the show's been edited, I am leaning towards a Joe win. I think even with Kyle having seemingly more to do at Final Tribal, I just don't think it's gonna be enough. Anyway, we are back now from commercial here. I'm going to once again minimize the screen here so I can't be spoiled by chat because I know I'm behind. We're about to get to the jury vote here. Anyway, David is getting up the vote here. We'll see what what votes we see. We have Mitch saying that everyone killed it, but sure. All right, we have Cedric voting for Joe, which is expected. I think again, I had Cedric marked as a Joe vote for a while. Makes sense here. We have Mitch being undecided. We've got Mary voting for Eva here. Interesting. Mary voting Eva is not that unexpected. I believe I had her voting for Eva in a lot of other scenarios, even with Joe in there. And again, her not voting for Joe makes a lot of sense here. But and then of course we got Camilla voting for Kyle, meaning that all three people get votes here. Well, it's been a while since all three people got votes. But again, maybe it could be a 5-2-1. Is that where we're going? Yeah, when's the last time all three people got votes? I'm trying to remember. Did Chrissy get a vote in HHH? I don't think Chrissy got a vote in HHH. I need to look it up. But anyway, the votes are now cast. Jeff is getting the urn. Because I'm thinking, like, obviously at Samuel Del Sur, where like all three people got votes, but that was because it was the blood versus water season. And beyond that, I think Carolyn got a vote. I know Carolyn got a vote in Worlds Apart, if I remember correctly. Anyway, Jeff has the urn now. Time to read the votes. All right, here we go. All right, first vote is for Joe. We're probably gonna see the votes we got in the confessional. Eva, 1 vote Joe, 1 vote Eva. Kyle, 1 vote Eva, 1 vote Joe, 1 vote Kyle. Eva, 2 votes Eva. Looks like David and Mary. I mean, they did cut the star. Kyle, we got 2 votes Eva, 2 votes Kyle, 1 vote Joe. Whoa, 3 votes Kyle, 2 votes Eva, 1 vote Joe. Wow. And there you have it. Kyle has won Survivor 48. Wow. Joe got third. That is crazy. That is interesting. I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Wow. All right, so I was wrong. That is so weird, though. Why would they edit Joe like that if he lost? I'm guessing because Joe's gonna be on 50, and they want to. Why would they do that though? Like, you'd think they do that for the 49 person, or if there's a person on 49 on 50, then they would try to like prop up the 49 person. But it's just so weird. Like, it just felt like Joe and Eva were like the anchors of the season. And yes, I know Kyle and Camilla got more focus later on, like obviously. I just don't I just find it weird though. Like I felt like Kyle was just getting set up for a fall here. That's just crazy though. Like, I mean, we do get Kyle's explanation, but I just thought it was gonna backfire. You said Eva had no shot to win. I stand by that. I didn't say Eva wasn't gonna get votes in certain scenarios. I definitely like in some of my scenarios, not in this scenario, but definitely in other scenarios, I thought Kyle was gonna get votes, but that is crazy though. I mean, I can't say I'm disappointed because like I'm kind of glad Joe lost after getting that content, but wow. I mean, I think if we are still looking at Kyle's like edit, like I still think there are a lot of holes. I think his premiere was pretty bad. I think there's definitely a lot of holes you can point to with Kyle's edit. I think there were definitely indications of Kyle's like approach to the game that are kind of flawed. Like it definitely like you could definitely make the argument that his approach to the game was flawed. Though at the same time, like I do think he got propping up in the final trial performance. But yeah, that like again, I know there were truthers out there. Like I know there were people who were believing Kyle to the end, but I didn't believe it. Like I will admit it, I was wrong. Like I know like there were other like I know I wasn't the only Joe truther out there. Like I again like I feel like there was like a very split opinion in terms of Joe and Neva. I mean between Joe and Kyle, like it did seem like those were like the people. But again, I like again like I feel like I explained my thought process well. Like I feel like I think I stand by my thought process during a lot of the season, but I was just wrong. I do think the final tribal like definitely like leaned towards Kyle like doing well. Like I feel like he got a lot propping up during the obviously Shaheen response. I didn't think it was gonna lend itself well, like, and especially like at the point where like they didn't even like acknowledge like the end game stuff. Though obviously like it turns out he was right. Obviously, I do think Kyle and Camille still got a lot of propping up. Like that duo got propped up. The fact that they never really got caught. And then we are back from commercial, by the way. We have Cedric explaining his Joe vote. All right. All right, so Star was the other Eva vote, which explains why they cut the Star. All right. Yeah, Mary is explaining her Eva vote here. Is this your first time being wrong in the new era? No. I was wrong about Gabler. I I think in 43 I was in on Cassidy by the end. I was in on Cassidy coming to final tribal of 43. But yeah, like I think yeah, but yeah, this is like yeah, this is the yeah, I was wrong there. I was obviously wrong here. Joe played a top 3, 4, 5 runner-up game ever. I think now with the context that he loses, like, and Kyle did actually seem to drag him to the end. Like, I don't know. I think I'm probably lower on Joe now. If Joe had won, and this was in a spot where Kyle dragged him to the end, thinking he was going to lose to beat Joe, but then was wrong, I would definitely be higher on Joe. But the fact that Joe loses, and it seems like he would have lost in a lot of scenarios, like, I don't know. Like, I think that definitely knocks him down a few pegs. Like, because obviously, like, it definitely like recontextualizes like the end and like how Kyle approaches things. And I do think it does elevate Kyle. Like, I think Kyle, like, again, like, I was calling out Kyle. I thought Kyle was making some questionable decisions, and that because that was under the assumption that I thought Joe was going to beat Kyle. But obviously, now knowing this is what happened, I think that definitely changes things. I think it definitely makes me have to reassess Kyle's game a bit. But yeah, this is interesting. Kyle was so slept on. I don't know. I feel people were definitely up higher on Kyle later on. Yeah, it's just weird to me that there were a lot of red flags for Joe losing, but they seem kind of forced. I didn't really believe them. Like, oh yeah, like there were definitely like knocks at Joe's edit. Like I think Eva looks upset. Like I can't tell if she's upset by Joe losing, or I can't tell if she's more upset by her losing or by Joe losing. I can't really tell. When people rewatch the season, they'll see how great an edit Kyle had. I mean, his pre-merge is definitely more in line with Rachel's, where it's like I feel like again, I still stand by his premiere being pretty mediocre. Like I stand by I think I stand by his pre-merge in general not being the best, where a lot of it just felt so service level. And to be fair, I think Rachel definitely had a similar issue. But I just feel like it was just so apparent after the merge that Rachel was ratcheting up, and the Annika blindside being this very blatant turning point for Rachel that allowed me to go higher on Rachel later on the season. I think Kyle though is someone who again, like definitely had like setup. I think there was definitely setup to Kyle winning. I was just more convinced by Joe. I think. Let me just like let me just review my power rankings. I'm just gonna review my power rankings real fast. All right. So let's see. So again, I was very high on Kyle in the preseason. Obviously, like he seemed like a pretty good candidate on paper, with being number two. Let's see. I had him at number 8 after the premiere, which I think is what I had Gabler after the 43 premiere. I think I had Gabler around the middle of the pack after the premiere. So Kyle was 8 after the premiere. He was 10 after episode 2, 10 after episode 3. Uh, then he went up to 7 after the episode 4. That was the swap episode. 8 after episode 5. Then he goes up to 6 after the merge episode. He hovers around 7 after episode 7. Yeah, it's not until episode 8 that it gets into the top 5, but that's 5 out of 10, so middle of the pack. 4 after episode 9, 3 after episode 10, 2 after episode 11, and then and then he was 2 for pretty much the rest of the season after episode 11. So he definitely went up over time, like, and I feel like his edit definitely started to overshadow Camilla. So it's not like I was completely out. It's not like I was like as low on Kyle as I could have been, but like he never really like there was never a point where he cracked in as a front runner. So, and I think a lot of that ties into like me just thinking Joe is more likely for pretty much the entire season. Like I feel like there was never like a downturn for Joe. Where like yeah, like I'll admit like Joe did have some knocks. Like obviously like, the Mary moment was pretty bad. No confessionals episode 5. Mind you, I don't really knock that against them, but I just feel like we're just like again. I think there are definitely like reasons. I think there were definitely a lot of valid reasons for the Kyle truthers to be as high as they were on Kyle. Though at the same time, like I just feel like the fact that Joe doesn't get as many knocks to his edit. He got knocks, but he didn't get as many knocks as I would have thought he would. Because I feel like there's just so much emphasis on the relationship with Joe and Eva to where that made me feel like it just made me feel like they were presenting Joe as like this heroic figure. So I'm not saying I regret my power rankings. I'm not saying I regret my process through the season. And I'm also not gonna try to like engage in like revisionist history. I will admit that I had a lot of doubts about Kyle during a lot of the season. While I think there were merits, while I think he definitely got better as the season went along, I feel like there were enough reservations to where I felt justified in my placement. Um, and obviously I was wrong. Like I'm not expecting to be right 100% of the time. I'm just like trying to like explain my thought process through this. Now, putting aside like the whole power ranking aspect to it, I will say that this outcome does elevate my view of the season slightly. Like, because I will say, like, if Joe had just won the season in the way that he did, I feel like it would have been pretty boring. I was never like big on Joe as like a character. I was never really high on him as like him having like this winning trajectory. Like does make me feel a little bit better. It's not really enough to elevate the season too much. I still expect this to be like a bottom tier season. But I do think this definitely like again elevates it a little bit. I think it'll definitely make it stand out in the sense that I was wrong. In the sense that there were seemingly these two genuine contenders by the end of the season, both of which having some flaws but also some pros. And I think that's something to consider. Anyway, I need to revisit the chat here. I've been kind of ignoring it. Um, huh. Yeah, I'm not even paying attention to the after show for that what that's worth. Um, Kyle played an idol, but he did have an extra vote with an iron knock. Again, like I think if we're talking about Kyle's game, I think Kyle played a pretty strong game. I think Kyle is someone I would have high on a winner ranking. I think with the knowledge that he beats Joe, probably also beats Camilla, I would assume. I think him knowing that he had to cut Camilla at the end, and having that killer instinct to cut her at the very, very end. Again, we'll have to see. We'll have to see like whether like Camilla revealing that information like dissuaded him, whether that changed his mind or not. But I think there's a lot to like with Kyle. I think with the knowledge now that Kyle wins, especially with him beating Joe, I think you can say Kyle played a top tier game. I think he managed his start level very well. He was never targeted during the entire game. He was well positioned. He was in the majority alliance. Yes, he was technically targeted over Camilla in that swap round. He got a bad swap. He was targeted. Obviously, that is a minor knock to his game. But taking that out, he still played a very solid game. I think he recovered very well. After that round, he was able to build a new majority alliance. After the merge, he's able to take control. And again, we'll have to see how exit interviews play out and stuff. But I would say I would feel confident considering Kyle to be a very strong winner of the show. And I think you can and I think now with the knowledge of how he played approached the game and what ended up happening, probably in the top 10 for the new era. I am planning to update my top 10 players in a new era. I think Kyle will probably crack that list at this point. So yeah, and again, I think that's something. First time I see newbie wrong in Survivor. Again, I was wrong. I was wrong with 43. Yeah, I was not a Gabler believer. Let's see. Camilla be second. Kyle first. Joe third. Um. Again, I'll probably wait for exit interviews before fully solidifying the player ranking, but I think this definitely like plays into things. We do not have a 49 premiere date yet. Is Kyle better than D? Anyway, sorry, I was just responding to chat. Um, Same day. Usually, Amazing Race comes out a week after Survivor starts. Anyway, let me. Okay, you asked me this question: is Kyle better than D? I think he might be. I think there's a serious argument for it. I mean, because obviously with D, like D has that final five round that's really, really bad and was entirely her own fault. Kyle doesn't really have that knock to his game. Like, yes, there's the Thomas round where he was the target, but again, you can excuse that. That obviously he was down in numbers due to the swap. Um, and even then, like he got around it. He played well enough in that spot. Um, and again, I think win equity is another. I mean, to be fair, like D wins against everyone. I mean, D beats Katura at least. D probably beats Drew as well. I mean, I think it's really just Julie that she loses to, which is obviously a problem in the sense that D didn't want to vote out Julie at Final Five. Again, we'll have to see like exit stuff and how intentional everything was, but I do think there is a serious argument for Kyle being better than D, because again Kyle's Kyle does not have the same low point that D does. You can argue whether he had the same high point, which actually he might. I think taking out Shaheen was pretty good in hindsight, especially with now with knowledge that Shaheen was a jury threat. I think sniping out Shaheen was pretty good, and it did seem like he gets credit for that. Now, obviously, I think something you can potentially take away is like how much of it was him on his own versus how much of it was Camilla. Though again, I do think Kyle still has a decent amount of agency within himself. Um the Final Five debacle was caused by Jake finding an idol and telling Austin. It's also, I mean, yes, that's part of it, but it's also Dean not wanting to write down Julie's name. Like, and also the way Dee gets out of it is questionable because it really just comes down to Katora being sketched out by Jake because Jake didn't tell Katora that he was going to use the idol on her. So it's like, how much credit can you really give Dee for saving herself or preventing this situation from happening? Um, we're gonna be getting a 49 teaser. Just joined, so I don't know what you said or not, but where would Kyle rank in a player ranking and New Era winner ranking? In terms of like a player ranking, I think he's number one in the player ranking. I think now knowing that he wins in the way that he does, I think I had to have him at number one. In terms of top 10, in terms of like New Era winner ranking, again, it's between him and D. I think he's pretty high on a New Era winner ranking, pretty high just on a general winner ranking. Katura said also D crime made her guessing herself and spooked her. But that wasn't intentional though. Like it's not like D like it's not like those are crocodile tears where like D was manipulating Katura intentionally. Like again, like D just got emotional. Like I mean, again, like I can't really credit D for that. I mean you can credit the bond that they had, but like I can't really say that D like again like started to make Katora feel bad on purpose to cause Katora to flip. I do think Jake's mistake played a bigger factor in Katora flipping her vote in that position. Yeah, Joe. I'll need to think about it. I think I need to wait for exit interviews. I think there's an argument for Joe being second. I think there's an argument for him being third. I think what it really comes down to is where to put Camilla. Because I think the issue with Camilla is like she was not part of the core alliance. She obviously had the connection to Kyle that allowed her to be in a good spot, but she wasn't in the core alliance. Do you think Eva being open about being autistic forced the other tribe mates to not vote her out? I don't think so. Like, I mean, I think they would have kept her. I think she would have been fine regardless. Like, I mean, she didn't even tell anyone other than Joe until episode 5. I mean, and she was already in the majority alliance by that point. So I don't think that made that big of a difference. Um, let me see. I think now knowing Camilla beats everybody. Yeah. Yeah, I think win equity plays a factor for Camilla. Yeah, I think that revelation definitely helps Camilla here. I think it'll be interesting to see how Joe would have done against Mitch. Because if Joe wins against Mitch, then him voting out Mitch is stupid. You know, obviously a knock against him. Okay, so now okay, I think that helps me a bit. All right, Camilla. All right, yeah, I think that's enough to make Camilla number two. keeping Joe is still bad for Kyle because Joe could have won immunity and sent Kyle in the fire. Kyle probably also beats. I think we need to know Mitch's win equity. I think that's definitely an issue there because I'm currently under the assumption that Mitch doesn't win at the end, versus as a contrary to what was said on the show. So I think Mitch's win equity will matter a lot here in terms of whether it was the right move or not. I think Joe and Eva were dragged because players knew they were not going to win the game, and whoever is third at Montreal wins the jury vote. That's what it's looking like. Because we already knew that they were not happy by Joe and Eva. Anyway, we are getting the 40. We're gonna get the 49 promo here, or are we going to commercial first? I talked through this entire after show. I'm not even paying attention to it. Okay, we're going to commercial first. All right. Stars to be one of the worst players ever. She's bad, but she at least got the final eight. That has to at least count for something. But I would agree with you. I think, again, now knowing the result of this season, I think it definitely reshapes. It obviously reshapes a lot of things in terms of how it all plays out here. But yeah, again, good enough ending to the season. I can't really complain about that. All right. Okay, we are now getting the 49 promo. All right. Do you think Shaheen would have won if he was there instead of Kyle? We know Shaheen was a jury threat. If we're taking Shaheen's word for it, it does seem like he would have won. Joe Anglum or Joe Hunter, gameplay wise, that's easy. Joe Hunter. All right. Okay. And with that, that is the end of Survivor 48. Interesting stuff. I mean, I can't say I'm unhappy with the results of the season. But yeah, I mean, again, pretty good. Pretty good result. Now there was actually again, I was kind of prepared. I was preparing for the possibility of like Joe beating Eva at the end, and like again, I think I was a bit surprised by like because like I had like this whole like thing prepared of what I was gonna say like, and I might still make it into a video at some point like talking about like the optics of like Joe beating Eva, considering everything that has happened. And obviously the whole representation side of it, which again I already like talked about in a separate video. Probably not gonna go into it now. I mean, kind of feels moot if I'm being honest. And especially with like Eva getting second over Joe, I think that kind of alleviates that a little bit. So anyway, next video of off season video will be so the plan is player ranking, that's gonna be Saturday. Reviews can be not long afterwards. And then we get into the off season. So I'm gonna make a 50 cast reaction next week. Obviously, video comes out next. The announcements next Wednesday. I'm gonna try to get the video out by the day after on the Thursday. So there will be that. There's the top 10 worst new era players that has already been made and it's already like out. There's also the top 10 best new era players that I obviously had to hold off on until I made the season ended. Now that we know, I can like make some adjustments. So that'll be coming out. And then beyond that, it's like I have some ideas on what I want to do. I think a season ranking is something I considered. Probably like HK videos. I want to make at least one Amazing Race video. Like I definitely like have been itching to make like a big Amazing Race ranking. So maybe that'll be on the table. So again, there's and you know like we'll see what happens as well. If you want my opinion, I do think Joe can't win the game. His hypocrisy irks the jury a lot, and we see Eva having the best final trial performance in the game, more votes than Joe. Again, I still think Eva's performance was very questionable. I think the show didn't really make her. I don't think the show made her come off that well, and I think she kind of got blatantly undermined. But yeah, I think the fact that again, the fact that Eva got more votes than Joe final trial still kind of blows my mind. But yeah, like I think now with the knowledge that Joe loses to Kyle and Eva, it's like who does he win against? Does he beat Eva and Mitch? I mean, for all we know, it could come out that Mitch was a jury threat. And that's the case, like, yeah, I mean, Joe's probably a GOAT at that point. I mean, because obviously, like, we knew for a while that the jury was not happy with Joe. But I just didn't think they would vote against Joe in a lot of cases. But obviously, this changes things. I don't really see the point of that. Like, I already made like a winner ranking of all the winners, not just the new era winners. Though at the same time, I have considered ranking all the new era players after 50 ends. So like that's something, but obviously that's like a year from now. What do you think of 49 the 49 logo? It's fine. I don't really have too much to say about it. I hope Bruce isn't on the list for worst players. Well, you'll have to see for the you have to wait for the video to come out if you're not a member. But we'll see. The season's edit is so strange. Kind of, I would say so. Do you knock California Idol at Final 15? Well, I had to knock him a little bit, but like it's not like that bad. Considering again, he still had an extra vote. That's something to consider. And obviously, he was targeted to begin with because he got a bad swap. So again, it is a knock, but it's not like a major like something that would knock him all the way down. Kyle's winning game is second best, at least for me. Again, I think win equity will be a concern. I think win equity is definitely a question here. Though again, like I do think Kyle beats most people outside of Camilla. But again, I think him and D, like I think that's an interesting debate. I think for now I'm gonna say above D. I'm gonna say above D for now, as it did. Again, I feel like I have like fewer issues with Kyle's active gameplay. So I think again we'll wait for exit interviews to see like more stuff. Kyle could struggle to win against Shaheen. Yeah. Again, yeah, I think Shaheen could be an interesting one. Even Mary, I think, could also be up for debate. So again, actually, again, like I think Kyle recognized this. I think yes, he loses Shaheen, but he also targets Shaheen. Like he's able to get out Shaheen like decently well before the end. And then same thing with Mary. Like yes, there are people he loses to, but he wasn't planning to get to the end with like Shaheen or Mary. So I think that's something to consider there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think Mary did was someone who could have won at the end. And obviously like she's someone who was still targeted and taken out at the end. So again, it's like yeah, she was a threat to win, but like they took her out before she could like get to the end. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand with that. But anyway, I'm probably gonna Charlie for 50. You may be happy by the announcement next week. You're probably gonna like what's gonna come out. D ran her core lines throughout the entire game until final 7. I mean, she did. I mean, she does. But like Kyle was like also like kind of involved as well. Like, I mean, how because like how many points does Kyle not get his way? I think that's something to consider because I feel like when it comes to like when it comes to like the David vote, like I think you can make the argument that Kyle was able to pivot to take out David. I think with the Shaheen vote, I think that's 100% on Kyle and Camilla in that spot. I think Kyle was also pretty safe for most of the season. I mean, outside the Thomas rounds, like I mean, how much danger was Kyle actually in of going home? Because even with David, like David was going to target Camilla over Kyle. Yes, I am planning to do a 50 reaction video. I mean, was he though? I don't get that sense. Like it's like it seems like based on the way the game played out that Kyle was always like somewhat safe in the game. And certainly safer than Camilla. Yeah. I find it funny that the season had an alliance of honorable people and the police honorable people. Uh Again, you could debate that. I mean, the way Kyle talks about how he takes Joe to the end is questionable. Even the way he talks about putting even a fire is kind of questionable when it comes to like arguing that he's not honorable. Yeah, I'm probably gonna log off shortly, but I can answer any last comments here before signing off. Felt like filler leading at the 50. Um, maybe. Yeah. Any other comments before I? She wasn't technically in the alliance. Yeah, Camilla technically was not in the core four. She was not in the core four. She was like attached to Kyle, and obviously Camilla also had connection to Shaheen. So like she was like adjacent to the alliance, but not actually like within the core. Oh yeah, me too. Like I'm pretty happy with the results here. Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. But that will do it. I agree. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad everyone could join. I mean, we got a pretty decent showing here, and I mean, we had screen crashing early, but it was able to hold up. Thank you, Sheen. Of course, yeah, I'll be interested to cover the other seasons. But yeah, I mean, more stuff will be coming your way pretty shortly. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna have to get a good night's sleep and then record the video tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I definitely have my work cut out for me, and man, I can't complain too much with the outcome of the season. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I'll be back soon with another video, and that will do it. See ya.